Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're diving deep into a concept that is, no joke, a total game changer for self-awareness. It's called shadow work. We're going to explore how to find those parts of yourself you've pushed down, bring them back into the fold, and finally break those patterns that keep holding you back.
And we have to kick things off with this powerhouse quote from the psychologist who basically invented this idea, Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I mean, wow, that just perfectly sums it up, right? It's about all these hidden parts of us that are secretly running the show, making us feel like we're just unlucky or stuck with a certain destiny.
And let's be real, who hasn't felt this? You feel like you're making real progress, and then, bam, that same old pattern pops up again. Or you find yourself sabotaging a good thing for no reason at all. It honestly feels like some invisible force is pulling the strings. Well, today, we're gonna meet that force.
All right, so first things first, what exactly is this shadow we're talking about? Let's break it down.
Okay, this is probably the most important thing to get right off the bat. The shadow is not some evil, sinister monster living inside you. It's not. As it says here, it's your wound. It's basically a collection of all the traits and feelings that you learned, probably as a kid, were bad or unacceptable. And to feel safe, to feel loved, you just pushed them down into the dark.
So this chart really lays out that inner tug of war we all feel. On one side, you've got your persona. That's the polished social mask you wear, right? It's how you want everyone to see you. But on the other side, you've got the shadow. Everything you've decided you don't want to be. Everything you hide. And we're not just talking about things like anger or jealousy. It could also be your strength, your ambition, your creativity, if you were ever taught that those things were too much. This constant battle is what we're here to explore. So, what actually happens when we try to just ignore these parts of ourselves? Well, to really get how repression works, I want you to imagine your shadow is a giant beach ball and you're in a swimming pool.
Now, you do not want anyone to see this beach ball. So what do? You spend a ton of mental and emotional energy just holding it under the surface. You're pushing, you're straining, trying to pretend it's not even there. But man, it takes constant effort to keep it hidden.
And you know what happens, right? The more you resist, the harder that beach ball pushes back against you. The pressure just builds and builds and builds. You are fighting its natural desire to come to the surface, and the force it takes to keep it down just gets bigger and bigger. And then, eventually, your grip slips for just a second, and that ball explodes out of the water with incredible force, making this huge chaotic splash. That's your shadow bursting out. It's that sudden, angry outburst, that moment of self-sabotage, that passive-aggressive comment you didn't even mean to make. The more you push it down, the more chaotic it's going to be when it finally comes up. Okay, so clearly we can't just keep pushing that ball down forever. The key is to actually get to know it. But how in the world do you spot something that is, by its very definition, hidden from you? Well, it turns out your shadow leaves clues. There are 3 key places to look. Your shadow leaves breadcrumbs everywhere. First up, your triggers. You know those moments when your emotional reaction is like a 10 out of 10 for a situation that's maybe a 2? That's a huge sign a hidden wound just got poked. Second, your projections. Pay close attention to the things that drive you absolutely crazy about other people. They often point directly to a part of yourself that you've rejected. And finally, your patterns. The same fight, the same financial mistake, the same relationship dynamic, over and over and over again. Now this question right here, this is an absolute game changer, especially when you're looking at your projections. The next time you find yourself really harshly judging someone, I want you to just pause and quietly ask yourself, how am I that? How does that same exact trait, maybe in a slightly different disguise, exist in me? And look, this isn't about blaming yourself. It's about finding compassion for them and for you. Okay, so you've spotted a clue, you got triggered, or you noticed a projection. Now what do? This next part is all about the how. These are the practical steps to actually do shadow work. We can really break it down into 3 simple steps. First, track. Just notice. Notice the trigger, notice the feeling, without judging it as good or bad. It just is. Second, question. Get curious. Ask yourself why. Why did that bother me so much? And when you have an answer, ask why again. Keep digging until you get to the root story. And third, integrate. This is where the magic happens. You let the feeling be there, but then you consciously choose a new action instead of just falling back into the old automatic pattern. And this is a really, really important distinction to make. The goal here isn't to analyze the feeling away or to fix yourself. The healing comes from just allowing it to exist. You're giving that feeling a seat at the table. You're acknowledging it, but you're not letting it drive the car anymore. You see the old story, you feel the old feeling, and you decide, I'm going to write a different ending this time.
So after all this work, what's the end game? What are we even aiming for? It can be really tempting to see this as just another self-improvement project, to become perfect. But that's not it at all. The real goal is wholeness, not perfection.
You see, shadow work is really an act of reclamation. It's not about becoming some new flawless person. It's about becoming a whole person. Think of it like you're gathering up all these lost, exiled parts of yourself, the ones you buried a long time ago for protection, and you're finally welcoming them back home.
Okay, I absolutely love this quote because it's so provocative and honestly so freeing. It's not about literally thinking you're a bad person. It's about owning all the parts you've been repressing. It's looking your capacity for anger, for jealousy, for being difficult in the mirror, and instead of shaming it, you say, yep, that is a part of me, and I accept it. I love my whole self. Now that, right there, that is real power.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to just carry with you. As you go about your day, ask yourself this question. What part of you, your wild creativity, your righteous anger, your deep sensitivity, your fierce ambition, what part have you pushed down into the shadows that is just waiting for you to turn around and finally bring it into the light?